Imagine walking through a dense jungle where giant trees have swallowed entire cities. Suddenly, hidden behind the mist, an enormous stone tower appears. Then another, and another. Before you know it, you're standing in front of the largest religious monument ever built by human hands. Not in Egypt, not in Rome, but deep inside Cambodia. Here's the mystery. Over 900 years ago, an empire with no modern machines, no steel cranes, and no computers somehow constructed a temple so massive that it covers more than 400 acres, using between 5 and 10 million sandstone blocks, many transported from quarries over 50 kilometers away. Even more astonishing, every tower, corridor, and staircase was aligned with extraordinary mathematical precision and celestial events. But here's the question that has puzzled historians for centuries. Why would an ancient civilization spend unimaginable wealth and manpower building something so colossal, only to slowly abandon the city surrounding it? This is the untold story of Angkor Wat, the greatest temple ever built, the empire that created it, and the secret hidden inside its stones. To understand Angkor Wat, we must travel back to one of history's most powerful but least discussed civilizations, the Khmer Empire. Stretching across much of modern-day Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam, the Khmer controlled vast trade routes, fertile farmland, and millions of people. At its peak, the capital city of Angkor may have been home to nearly 1 million residents, making it one of the largest cities on Earth centuries before cities like London or Paris reached similar populations. Yet today, surprisingly few people know its name. Everything changed when a young prince named Suryavarman II seized the throne. He wasn't satisfied with simply ruling an empire. He wanted to leave behind something that would make his name immortal. Kings before him had built temples, but Suryavarman envisioned something far beyond imagination, a monument so enormous that it would represent not only his power, but also the entire universe according to Hindu beliefs. His dream would become Angkor Wat. Building Angkor Wat was unlike constructing an ordinary temple. It was an engineering project on a scale almost impossible to comprehend. Millions of sandstone blocks, each weighing up to 1.5 tons, had to be cut from quarries located over 50 kilometers away at Phnom Kulan. Historians believe workers transported these stones using an extraordinary combination of canals, rivers, rafts, elephants, wooden sledges, and thousands of laborers. Every block was carefully shaped to fit almost perfectly against its neighbors without using modern cement. Instead, the incredible precision of the stonework allowed gravity and craftsmanship to hold the structure together for nearly 9 centuries. But transporting the stones was only the beginning. Before construction even started, Khmer engineers transformed the landscape itself. They dug enormous moats, built artificial embankments, and created stable foundations capable of supporting millions of tons of stone on soft tropical soil. Surrounding the temple, they excavated a moat nearly 200 meters wide that stretches for over 5 kilometers around the complex. While many visitors assume the moat was purely defensive, it actually played multiple roles. It stabilized groundwater beneath the temple, prevented flooding, symbolized the cosmic ocean in Hindu mythology, and reflected the magnificent towers like a giant mirror. It was both practical engineering and religious symbolism working together. As the temple slowly rose toward the sky, every part of its design followed an astonishing cosmic blueprint. Angkor Wat was never meant to be just a building. It was a 3-dimensional map of the universe. According to Hindu belief, Mount Meru stood at the center of creation as the home of the gods. The temple's 5 iconic towers represent the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, while the surrounding moat symbolizes the cosmic ocean encircling the world. Even the long causeway leading to the entrance represents humanity's journey from the ordinary world toward the realm of the divine. Every staircase becomes steeper as visitors climb higher, reminding worshippers that reaching heaven is never easy.
Then there is one of Angkor Wat's greatest mysteries. Almost every major Hindu temple in history faces east toward the rising sun. Angkor Wat faces west. For decades, historians debated why. Some believe the westward orientation connects the temple with Vishnu, the Hindu god to whom it was dedicated. Others argue that because the West is traditionally associated with death, Suryavarman II intended Angkor Wat to serve as his own grand funerary monument. Whatever the true reason, this unusual orientation continues to fascinate archaeologists today.
If the architecture impresses you, the artwork leaves an even deeper mystery. Covering nearly 800 meters of gallery walls are some of the longest and most detailed stone carvings ever created. These bas-reliefs contain over 20,000 individual figures. Entire armies march across the walls, kings ride into battle, heavenly dancers perform graceful movements, gods wage cosmic wars. One of the most famous scenes depicts the churning of the ocean of milk, where gods and demons pull a giant serpent to create the nectar of immortality. Every warrior, every ornament, every facial expression was carved by hand into sandstone with astonishing precision. Even after centuries of weather and jungle growth, many carvings remain remarkably detailed. But the genius of Angkor Wat wasn't limited to architecture. The entire city surrounding it was a masterpiece of environmental engineering. Unlike many ancient civilizations that struggled against nature, the Khmer learned to control water better than almost anyone else. Massive reservoirs called barays stored enormous amounts of water during the rainy season. An intricate network of canals distributed this water across rice fields during dry months, allowing multiple harvests every year. This agricultural system fed nearly 1 million people and generated enough wealth to support one of the greatest building programs in human history. In many ways, water, not stone, was the true foundation of the Khmer Empire. Yet, beneath all this success, a silent danger was growing. The water system that had made the empire powerful also became increasingly difficult to maintain. Climate studies suggest the region experienced decades of severe drought, interrupted by catastrophic monsoon floods. Reservoirs dried up, canals became clogged with sediment, floodwaters damaged critical infrastructure. Maintaining such an enormous hydraulic network required constant repairs, and over time, the system began to fail. At the same time, political instability weakened the empire from within. Rival kingdoms challenged Khmer dominance. Invasions became more frequent. Resources that once funded monumental construction were diverted toward warfare and survival. Then, during the 14th and 15th centuries, another profound transformation occurred. The empire gradually shifted from Hinduism to Theravada Buddhism. Unlike earlier kings who built gigantic temples to glorify divine rulers, Buddhist traditions emphasized simpler forms of worship. The age of monumental construction quietly came to an end. Eventually, the royal capital moved south toward present-day Phnom Penh. As generations passed, the bustling metropolis surrounding Angkor slowly emptied. Roads disappeared beneath vegetation. Houses made of wood decayed into the earth. Nature patiently reclaimed what humans had built. Towering silk cotton trees wrapped their roots around stone walls, making it appear as though the jungle itself was swallowing an entire civilization. Contrary to popular belief, Angkor Wat itself was never completely abandoned. Buddhist monks continued to worship there for centuries, preserving the temple even as much of the surrounding city faded into obscurity. For hundreds of years, the outside world knew almost nothing about the true scale of Angkor. Then, during the 19th century, European explorers described the magnificent ruins, astonishing readers who could hardly believe such a city existed in Southeast Asia. For decades, many mistakenly assumed the monuments had been built by a lost civilization, or even by outsiders, because they underestimated the achievements of the Khmer people. Modern archaeology has completely overturned those misconceptions. Using airborne LiDAR technology capable of seeing through dense jungle canopies, researchers discovered that Angkor was not simply a temple complex, but an enormous urban landscape stretching across nearly 1,000 square kilometers. Roads, canals, neighborhoods, reservoirs, and hidden temples emerged beneath the forest, revealing one of the largest pre-industrial cities ever built. And perhaps the greatest secret of Angkor Wat isn't hidden inside its towers at all. It's hidden in what the temple teaches us about civilization itself. Great empires don't disappear overnight. They slowly weaken when environmental challenges, political instability, economic strain, and changing beliefs combine over generations. Angkor wasn't destroyed by a single invasion or a single disaster. It gradually transformed until the world around it changed. Today, Angkor Wat remains the largest religious monument on Earth and the proud symbol of Cambodia, even appearing on the nation's flag. Nearly 9 centuries after its construction, the temple continues to stand with astonishing precision, surviving wars, jungle growth, tropical storms, and the relentless passage of time. Millions visit every year, but most only admire its beauty. Few realize they're walking through what was once the heart of one of history's greatest civilizations, a civilization that mastered engineering, astronomy, architecture, and water management long before the modern world existed.
So the next time you see the iconic towers of Angkor Wat rising above the Cambodian jungle, remember this: you're not simply looking at the world's largest temple. You're looking at the ambition of an empire, the brilliance of ancient engineers, and a timeless reminder that even the greatest civilizations can fade, but their greatest achievements can still inspire the world centuries later.